Have you been feeling different lately? Have you noticed that you're becoming quieter, more emotional, or strangely disconnected from the life you used to enjoy? Maybe you're questioning your relationships, losing interest in things that once excited you, waking up between 3 and 5 a.m., feeling exhausted for no clear reason, or carrying a heaviness you simply can't explain. Perhaps you've been asking yourself, what's happening to me? Why do I feel like I'm becoming a completely different person? Why does my old life seem to be falling apart when everything looks normal from the outside? If this sounds like you, stay with me for a few minutes. Many people searching for answers come across two ideas that seem to appear together again and again: Saturn Retrograde and spiritual or Kundalini Awakening. One comes from astrology, the other comes from ancient spiritual traditions. Although they come from different paths, many people believe they often describe the same season of life, a time when your old identity begins to fall away so something more authentic can emerge. This isn't about predicting your future or creating fear. It's about understanding why so many people experience deep inner change and why, during Saturn retrograde, those experiences can feel even more intense. So, is Saturn really affecting your spiritual journey? Can Saturn retrograde trigger or strengthen a Kundalini awakening? Or is something much deeper happening within you? Let's explore both perspectives together. First, let's understand what Saturn retrograde actually is. Astronomically, Saturn doesn't really move backward. It only appears to move backward because of the way Earth and Saturn travel around the Sun. This is called an apparent retrograde motion. But in astrology, Saturn retrograde is seen as a powerful period of reflection. Instead of pushing you forward, it encourages you to slow down, look within, and face the lessons you've been avoiding. Saturn is often associated with responsibility, discipline, karma, patience, boundaries, and long-term growth. During its retrograde, astrologers believe these themes become more personal and impossible to ignore. Now let's look at spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening often begins when your old life no longer feels right. Things that once made you happy suddenly feel empty. You start questioning your purpose, your relationships, your career, and even who you really are. Instead of searching for answers outside yourself, you naturally begin looking within. Many people describe this as the beginning of waking up from years of living on autopilot. Then there is Kundalini awakening. In spiritual traditions, Kundalini is described as a powerful dormant energy resting at the base of the spine. When this energy awakens, people often report intense physical, emotional, and spiritual changes. Some experience waves of energy moving through the body, emotional releases, vivid dreams, heightened intuition, or a deep desire to meditate and understand life more deeply. These experiences are part of spiritual traditions and personal accounts, and they vary greatly from person to person. This is where Saturn retrograde and Kundalini awakening begin to overlap. Many people believe Saturn doesn't create the awakening. Instead, it creates the conditions that make it impossible to keep avoiding yourself. Saturn represents truth. It removes illusions, unhealthy habits, unhealthy relationships, and false identities. Kundalini is believed to awaken the energy needed for deep transformation. One asks you to face your life honestly. The other gives you the strength to change it. During Saturn retrograde, old emotions may suddenly return. Childhood memories you thought you had forgotten may come back. Feelings of guilt, fear, sadness, anger, or loneliness can rise to the surface. At first, this can feel overwhelming. But from a spiritual point of view, many believe these emotions aren't returning to hurt you. They're returning because they're finally ready to be healed. You may also notice your relationships changing. Friends begin to drift away. Conversations that once excited you now feel empty. You become more protective of your energy and less interested in pleasing everyone around you. This can feel lonely, but many people describe it as a natural part of spiritual growth. As your inner world changes, your outer world often begins changing too. Another common experience is feeling like you're losing your identity. You may no longer recognize yourself. The goals you once chased don't inspire you anymore.
The person you pretended to be for years begins to disappear. This can be frightening because the mind always wants certainty. But spiritually, many believe this isn't the end of who you are. It's the beginning of discovering who you have always been beneath fear, expectations, and conditioning. Some people also notice unusual experiences during this period. They may have vivid dreams, stronger intuition, meaningful coincidences, or a desire to spend more time in silence, meditation, or nature. While these experiences are commonly shared within spiritual communities, they are not experienced by everyone, and they can have many different explanations. The important thing is not to become obsessed with signs, but to focus on your own growth, balance, and well-being. Perhaps the biggest lesson Saturn teaches is patience.
We often want healing to happen overnight. We want awakening to instantly remove our pain. But Saturn reminds us that real transformation takes time. Every difficult emotion, every uncomfortable truth, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to build a stronger, wiser version of yourself. So, does Saturn retrograde actually cause Kundalini awakening? There is no scientific evidence that it does. Saturn retrograde is an astronomical event interpreted symbolically in astrology, while Kundalini comes from ancient spiritual traditions. However, many people find that the themes of Saturn retrograde, reflection, responsibility, releasing the past, and rebuilding from within, closely mirror what they experience during the spiritual awakening. Whether you see it through astrology, spirituality, or simply personal growth, the message remains the same. Life sometimes asks you to slow down, stop running from yourself, and face the parts of you that need healing. That process isn't meant to punish you. It's meant to transform you. So if life feels heavier right now, if you're questioning everything, if you're shedding old habits, old relationships, and even old versions of yourself, maybe you aren't falling apart. Maybe you're finally becoming who you were always meant to be. And perhaps Saturn isn't here to punish you. Perhaps it's simply reminding you that before something stronger can be built, the old foundation must first be rebuilt from within. If this message found you at the right moment, take it as an invitation, not to fear change, but to understand it. Because sometimes, what feels like the end of your old life is actually the beginning of your awakening.